When the sun sets on the Stoborough Valley, and all the goods and passenger services have halted, a different service swings into action. This is the night mail. The main body of the service is hauled by Stuart and starts from Stoborough. He stops at each station, picking up letters and parcels. He also meets a shorter service at Fawley Junction, which is hauled by Daniel. He brings the letters from Revborough. The main service stops at Retford before heading out onto the Great Western Main Line. It heads to Exeter before coming back with a return service with post for the Stoborough Valley. The return service stops at Fawley Junction again, where Daniel is waiting with his empty mail train for the letters and parcels to go back to Revborough. The work for Stuart is only finished when he arrives back at Stoborough Sheds in the early hour of the morning. It's a rough job, meaning late hours, but Stuart has the long morning sleep before his first goods train of the day. On this particular evening, a week after the grand opening of the SVR, Stuart was being prepared to go out on tonight's mail service. Stan arrived into the sheds just as Stuart was about to head out. "Good luck tonight. You keep your spotless record." "I can't believe that you keep to the time so well. I'd be too tired to keep going." "I've got used to it, to be honest. Better go anyway, we're due off soon." Stuart departed the sheds as Stan yawned his farewell. He backed onto his train in the special mail platform. Lots of people were running around, and presently one man who Stuart recognised as the head postman came up to him and his crew. "We're going to be late, I'm afraid. The last of the mail hasn't arrived from the sorting office yet." "Bother! This means my spotless record is going to be dashed before I've even started properly." "Worry, there's nothing we can do until the post arrives." The head postman walked away to help with arrangements further back on the train. Stuart waited impatiently for the post to arrive. Finally, half an hour later, a tired-looking man ran onto the platform with 2 bags of mail. He passed it to the head postman, who put them on the train before shutting the doors and standing back. The guard blew his whistle and they were finally off. "We've got to make up time. Do you think we can do it, driver?" "As long as the postmen at each station are very quick, especially at Fawley Junction." Each loading at each station was done like fury. They were slowly gaining back time as they arrived into Castle Stoborough. "Well, worst of the journey is here. We need you at a constant speed on this gradient." "I'll try my best." Once he was loaded, Stuart roared away from the station into the tunnel. Meanwhile, Daniel was waiting at Fawley Junction. He'd been there for 20 minutes longer than usual, and even though he had a large fire in his firebox, he was still cold. I wonder what's happened to him. It's not like Stuart to be late. "I don't know, Dan, but all I know is that the timings for the main line runnings must be getting changed, or he's going to arrive and not be able to deliver the parcels." "I hope so, or it's going to be a long night for Stuart." Suddenly, Daniel could hear what he wanted to hear. The echoing chuffing of a Great Western engine coming from the tunnel, the sound getting louder and louder. Soon, Stuart erupted from the tunnel mouth and entered the station. "You're late! Tell me something I don't know. I'm already sorting off as the Stoborough decided they'd lose some of the mail needed on this service. My spotless record is dashed and I'm holding you up." "Ah, that makes sense. I knew it couldn't be your fault. If I had my way, that post would have had to be left behind, but apparently it was important, so I went with it. You can't forget that this service is a guaranteed service and is supposed to deliver and bring back post overnight, so the people have their post for the right time." Stuart was about to reply when their conversation was interrupted by his driver. "Come on, Stu, we're all done. Time to make up more time." While Daniel and Stuart had been talking, the crew of both mail trains had been busily working away to get the job done quickly. "Oh, I didn't realise we were done. Blimey, that didn't take long." "We are running late, you know. Tell me about it. Can it, you?" "I'll see you later, Dan. I don't know how much later, but it'll be later." "See you, Stuart. Good luck." Stuart pulled out of the station with his much heavier load, leaving Dan to watch the train disappear before heading back to Revborough for some sleep. Later that night, the postal train blasted its way back into Fawley Junction. Stuart wasn't hanging around. He was early and he wasn't going to let anything or anyone stop him. "God, blimey, Stuart, you put on a pace. You're not due for another 20 minutes. I know. I was making up for lost time. Plus, I've had the sleeper up my backside for most of the journey back. Oh well, at least I'm not late. I also have a special shipment of milk for Revborough. It was lying around Exeter and I said I'd pick it up because no one has sorted out the milk service for Exeter to Retford. There's a shambles there tonight." "Milk? Oh yeah, that's right. What was holding the sleeper?" "A king. Yeah, that's right, a ruddy king." "What? You kept in front of a king?" "I was holding him up, mind. I was doing 65 most of the way back. The King was supposed to be doing 100. You're lucky you weren't replaced with the castle for the return trip. I would have thought that might have happened. Nah, too much bother. I kept myself going. Enough chatting, we've got a non-stop run down to Stoborough now. We'll be very early when we arrive. Let's go. Okay. See you later, Daniel. Bye. Stuart charged out the station and disappeared into the tunnel. He made good progress and arrived at Stoborough 10 minutes early. The postman unloaded his train and he uncoupled and headed back to the shed. Stan had been woken up by his crew. Hey up, Stuart. Morning. What are you doing up this early? Milk train. Alright, have fun with that. I'm off to sleep. Sleep well. Ugh. Stan left Stuart to settle down and went to collect his milk wagons from the sidings. He thought to himself about the railway, the services, and how busy it actually was in the night. He'd admired Stuart for having the stamina to keep going all through the night and wondered if he'd ever get the chance to take the postal one day. Had he known how close it would be, and what was expected of him, he may have thought otherwise. The next day, Stuart had been called to Exeter to take part in a photo shoot for some upcoming propaganda, leaving Stan to haul his services plus his own. It wasn't ideal, but he was looking forward to one thing. Later that night, he'd be hauling the postal. He completed all his work without fuss, and was soon simmering at Stoborough. He watched as Vaughan shunted around the yard. Then he saw it, the mail consist. But there were extra coaches added. That couldn't be right. He watched as they were shunted into the main platform. All of them were there, 13 in total. Are we seriously being expected to take all of that? I'd expect so. There's a large shipment of parcels heading out tonight. 10 minutes later, Stan was coupled to the train and impatiently waiting for the off. Oh come on, I'm going to be late with all this wait. There's a large shipment tonight, it's taking longer to fill up each coach. Just be patient. Patient. 15 minutes later, they were finally ready. Stan started off. The strain of the heavy coaches started to tell, even as he left the station. His exhaust echoed all around as he pulled with his might. He managed to keep himself going at a pretty good speed and was on time with his stops at Grove and Wantage. He arrived in Castle Stoborough feeling slightly more sceptical, however. There's a bloody bank to get up now, and from a standing start too. I'm sure it'll be fine. Better be. The postman finished loading and Stan started off again. He tried to gain as much speed as possible. He attacked the bank with so much force that he was starting to wonder about his power rating. He crested the hill and rolled into Fawley where Dan was waiting. Holy cow, Stan. I could hear you from the start at Castle Stoborough. That was rather impressive. For you, maybe. That was murder. It's a good job the GWR have sent another engine to collect the service from Retford, isn't it? What? Didn't anyone tell you? The Great Western has sent down a haul from Exeter to take the mail away from here. Stuart's going to return on the service later on. So I don't even get to go on the main line. This is not how I wanted my time on this service to be. What a waste of time. I'm sure there'll be other opportunities. Fat chance. With that, Stan barked out of the station and coasted down to Retford, where, as promised, the haul was waiting. Thanks for bringing this load down here for me, friend. Stan uncoupled from the carriages and ran down to the shed. The haul coupled up and started away. He was soon out of sight, and Stan was left alone. He fell asleep. A few hours later, he was woken up by a loud whistle. Stuart had returned on the service. Hello, Stan. Oh, hello. I heard about you waking up everyone on the route. Bloody heavy coaches. Stuart laughed as he stopped in the platform, and Stan closed his eyes, secretly wishing that he wouldn't have to take the night mail again. Stuart could have it. It was his thing.